Hello everyone, and thank you for joining today's session. The topic for today's session is flow data, how to configure and monitor it. Well, talking about me, my name is Piyushri and I'm part of NetFlow Analyzer team. I take care of the marketing activities for the product and I also involve in bringing new features and enhancements with working with the development team. The topic for today's session is how to configure your flow data and monitor it. As you all know, monitoring solutions such as bandwidth monitoring solutions uses multiple technologies to capture and provide traffic consumption details. Some of the technologies available in the market are SNMP, flow-based, and packet capture. So the benefit or an advantage of flow-based monitoring over others is flow-based monitoring can provide you in-depth information of traffic consumption by applications and the users in your company. Also, flow data consumes less storage space as compared to packet capture tool in the market. So in today's presentation, we will see how you can get started with your bandwidth monitoring tool. Before moving on to the agenda, I would also like to tell you that this session will be recorded and we will share you the recorded version to you in a short period of time. The agenda for today's session is how you can export flows from your network devices in 2 easy ways. The next topic is how you can categorize traffic in your network and group them together. How you can map your business critical applications and view the traffic usage by each of the applications. Next is how you can gain in-depth traffic visibility with various traffic graphs. Next is how you can create threshold-based alerts and get notified via email and SMS in case of any threshold violation in the network. Along with this, we will also cover some of the best tips and tricks and best practices for using NetFlow Analyzer. These are the topics which we will be covering in today's session. So NetFlow Analyzer is flow-based bandwidth monitoring tool which can tell you the traffic speed and the bandwidth consumption in your network. You can also group your traffic by IPs and interface and device so that you can categorize the traffic based on a particular department or a critical applications in the network, or you can also group them based on WAN traffic. The next capability of NetFlow Analyzer is you can also monitor your Cisco AVC, which is Application Visibility and Control, which is Cisco technology, helps you to categorize 1,000+ applications in the network for your HTTP traffic. NetFlow Analyzer also supports wireless traffic monitoring for your wireless LAN controllers. You can also categorize and identify the malicious traffic in your network with the help of advanced security and the analytics module. The next is CBQS monitoring. CBQS monitoring is class-based QS monitoring which will help you to know the policy changes and the impact on the traffic consumption. The next is IPSLA monitoring which will monitor your voice and VoIP traffic for metrics such as jitter, packet loss, and latency metrics. The next is about MediaNet and MediaTrace, where you can monitor your media-rich traffic in the network. So these are the capabilities of NetFlow Analyzer, which will help you to gain in-depth visibility and help you to resolve your bandwidth issues. In case you're not aware of NetFlow Analyzer, you can visit our website at www.netflowanalyzer.com and you can go to the download page and you can download a 30-day free trial. Once you download NetFlow Analyzer, the minimum system requirements that are needed for your NetFlow Analyzer to run is you need a 2.4 quad-core processor, along with a 4 GB RAM and a 100 GB storage hard disk. The storage hard disk is for the flow rate, which is below 6,000 flows per second. If the flows are above this, you might require a higher storage hard disk. NetFlow Analyzer also comes with pre-bundled Postgres or MS SQL database, and you can install the software either or on Windows or a Linux machine. So these are the minimum system requirements for a NetFlow Analyzer to start running. In case you're using NetFlow Analyzer and you are in the older build, you can upgrade to the latest build, which we will be using for today's demo session. The latest build used is 123179. Once you install NetFlow Analyzer, what are the initial configuration steps which are needed for you to start monitoring your traffic? So the first step is you need to configure flow exports from your network devices. The devices such as routers, switches, firewall, you can export the flows from those devices, and then you can view or customize the traffic graphs. Once you can monitor the traffic, you can also get notified via email or SMS by creating and configuring alerts in the software. Let's go to the first step, which is configuring flow exports from your interfaces. So NetFlow Analyzer supports major flow formats in the market such as NetFlow, SFlow, JFlow, IPFix, NetStream, and AppFlows. So these are major flow technologies in the market where you can export the flows, and NetFlow Analyzer will show you traffic data with the help of these flows export. NetFlow Analyzer a future ready where if there is any new vendor in the market, it can also export flows for that particular vendor. So the various devices supported are shown in the screen. If you want to take a look at the devices supported, you can also visit this link and can know whether your device is supported by NetFlow Analyzer. So let's see how you can export flows to NetFlow Analyzer. There are two ways on how you can export the flows. The first method is the manual configuration method, where you need to use a command prompt and you need to telnet or SSH to the device and provide commands for exporting flows. The next method is using Network Configuration Manager add-on. In the first step of manual configuration, go to the settings page of NetFlow Analyzer and you need to note down the server and the listener port. Server port is the NetFlow Analyzer's web server port, and the listener port is the port where NetFlow Analyzer receives the flow data. So by default, the server port is set to 8080 and the listener port is set to 996. Both the ports can be configurable if these ports are being occupied. Once you note down the port, for manual configuration, you need to provide the commands for your particular device and start exporting flows. And the second method is using Network Configuration Manager add-on. Let's move on to the second step method. So in Network Configuration Manager add-on is an add-on to NetFlow Analyzer where from the UI you can add a device and provide its credentials. Once the device is added, and you can select the interfaces for which you want to export the flows, and the commands for these interfaces will be predefined in NetFlow Analyzer. So let me show you in the UI how you can export flows using NCM add-on. We need to go to the Inventories tab, and under Config Management, you need to add a new device. For adding a new device, you need to provide the IP address, vendor, and the device type. Once you provide this device, you can add the device and provide the credentials for this particular device. You need to provide the protocol, login, password, and the enable password. So the protocol could be Telnet or SSH, login name, password, and you need to select the backup device option and save the settings. Since it takes some time, I will export the flows from already backed up device, which is this, and I go to the right corner setting to export the flow. I can see a list of the interfaces which are there in the network, and I select next. Once this is done, I can see the flow commands for this particular interface. You can start applying it. Once it is applied, the flows start exporting and the device is added to NetFlow Analyzer. So in this way, you can add multiple devices and interfaces using Network Configuration Manager add-on. So the benefits of using this add-on is all the config for the devices in the market are predefined in NCM config module. You can also export flows from multiple interfaces in bulk, and this will reduce the time taken to export the flows. Next is also you can backup and restore the configurations for the future purpose. And if the configlets are not available for your device, you can also create new configlets in NCM add-on. So this is the benefit of using NCM add-on for exporting flows. So you can either use the manual or the NCM add-on for exporting the flows. Once the flows are exported and the device is added, the device will be listed in this inventory. So once the device is added and the interfaces are added, the name of the interface will be either listed as if index or from the device name. If the interfaces are listed as if index, you can fetch the device or the interface name with the help of SNMP credentials. So there are two steps required to fetch the name of your device and an interface with the help of SNMP. So let me show you how you can fetch the name of a particular interface. For that, you need to navigate to the settings, and under discovery, you have an option to set the credentials. So add a new credential, provide the credential name and the SNMP read and password. Once this is done, I have set the credential for the particular SNMP. Once the credential is added, I need to navigate to the inventory and a particular the device, and I can select an option for set SNMP. So this option will take the credential which I have recently added, and it will apply to all the device or a particular device which I have selected. So in this way, you can fetch the name from the SNMP and you can add the name for your particular router or a switch. So the two steps involved were adding SNMP credential, and the next step was associating the credential to your particular device. In case you find any difficulty in configuring flows to NetFlow Analyzer, you can refer our help guide, or you can check this guide in the handout section of this GoToWebinar. The next is we will cover what are the common problems faced while exporting flows. So these are some of the problems faced by an user, and we tried to cover some of those problems. So the first problem is NetFlow Analyzer shows no data available in the graph even after I have configured the flows. In this case, there could be two possibilities. The first is the device is not configured correctly while exporting the flows. So there could be a problem while providing the commands for this particular flow, which is not configured correctly, and you need to revisit the command and check if the flow commands is right. If the flow is added correctly, then you need to check whether there is any firewall or an access list which is blocking the UDP port. To check that, you need to download a packet capture tool and see if the flows are received or not. If the flows are received, you need to check whether there is a Windows firewall or an IP table. If there are any restrictions to these firewalls, you need to remove those restrictions and also make sure that your application is not binded by any other listener port. Next thing is, if the flows are not received, you also need to check if the UDP packets are being blocked by any external firewall or an access list. So the next problem could be, I have added only 2 interfaces of my router, but I see all the interfaces of a device in NetFlow Analyzer. So in this case, I have added only 2 interfaces, but I can see all the interfaces associated with this device. So in this case, when you are configuring the flows, the flow packets contain both in and out information of a particular interface. So while discovering these flows, the in and out also contains information of other interfaces, which will also be automatically added to NetFlow Analyzer. So in this case, you need to select the interfaces which are not required, and you can unmanage them from the inventory itself. Now that we have seen the problems which can happen during exporting flows, the next step is about gaining visibility into the real-time traffic graph. So NetFlow Analyzer has inventory, which is like the directory of NetFlow Analyzer, where you can see the traffic by device, interface, device group, IP or interface group, applications, QoS, wireless LAN controllers, and attacks. You can gain real-time traffic visibility by each of these components, and I'll show you in UI how you can view real-time traffic graph. Once I navigate to the inventory, I can see the traffic by either device, interface, groups, applications, QoS, wireless LAN controllers, and attacks. Let me drill down to any one particular interface. So after drilling down to this particular interface, I can see the utilization for the selected time period. I can also customize this time period from the settings. To view the real-time traffic graph, I can see the real-time traffic graph from this section. I can also know what are the applications which are consuming the maximum traffic for this particular interface. So these applications are predefined in NetFlow Analyzer with the help of port and protocols. The next is, you can also view the source which are consuming the traffic for this particular interface. You can also view the geo-based location for the particular source and the destinations. And apart from that, you can also see the traffic by the QoS. This will tell you the traffic by DHCP, DHCP group, and TOS. The next is, when it comes to troubleshooting, you want to take a view of the conversation tab, where you can see the stop source, destination, and the applications, and also the traffic consumption by each of them. Also, you can edit the configurations for this particular interface from the right settings, where you can edit the interface name, you can unmanage this interface, or you can delete it, or also enable it for advanced security analytics module. If you want to generate a report for this particular interface, you can also generate from the right setting. Since this interface is enabled for AVC, let me take you to the AVC tab. AVC tab in NetFlow Analyzer provides visibility into the HTTP traffic. Cisco defines NBAR2 applications and provide you the real-time application which is consuming the traffic. It also provides other graphs such as HTTP host, QoS stat, and advanced response time. With the help of advanced response time, you can see the response time of each of these applications in the network. Apart from the inventory, the other options where you can see the traffic usage is application. In application, you can see all the applications which are consuming the overall traffic in the network, and you can drill down to any particular application and can see the real-time traffic usage. So this will show me the in and out traffic usage for the HTTP traffic, And you can also see the interfaces which are associated for this particular application. The next is you can also see the traffic by the QoS and the DHCP values to know how much traffic is consumed by each of the DHCP values in the network. So suppose there is a high link utilization in one part of your network, NetFlow Analyzer will help you to know which router or a switch is consuming most of the traffic and which link is high, and also the applications which are consuming most of the traffic, and also it will drill down to each and every individual source and destination which is consuming most of the traffic. So with this, you can know the who, when, and what of your network traffic. So you can know which applications are consuming the maximum traffic in your network, what are the top protocols, the traffic usage by the QoS, source, destinations, and the conversations. So this will give you a complete picture of the traffic consumption in your network. As we already discussed about Cisco AVC, Cisco AVC is a Cisco technology for application visibility and control. It will tell you the visibility of the NBAR2 applications, and it will tell you the traffic, web traffic, URL traffic, and it will tell you how much traffic is consumed by your HTTP port. The next technology which is supported by NetFlow Analyzer is CBQoS, which is class-based QoS policy. So with the help of CBQoS, you can go to any particular interface. I can view the traffic for pre-policy and post-policy graphs. So suppose you edit any QoS policy in your particular device, you can know the change and the traffic drop for that change in the post policy graph, and it will help you to validate your QoS policies and help you to control your traffic in a better way. The next is WLC monitoring, which is wireless LAN controller monitoring. So NetFlow Analyzer supports WLC monitoring and monitoring of your Meraki devices. So let me take you to the UI to show you how NetFlow Analyzer supports WLC. So I'll navigate to the WLC tab and I select one of the controller in my network. So here you can see the traffic consumption for this particular controller, and I can also know the traffic consumption by each of the access points in this particular network. You can also view the traffic usage by the applications, and to drill down further, you can see the traffic usage by each of the access points and the applications and the SSIDs. So this will give you a complete picture of your wireless traffic. So with this, you can find the traffic usage by access points, SSIDs, applications, and the clients. The next is NetFlow Analyzer also supports MediaNet and multicast traffic. So to monitor your media-rich traffic, such as voice and video, you can also monitor MediaNet traffic by adding the additional fields while configuring the flow exports. With the help of MediaNet traffic, you can measure some of the performance metrics such as jitter, packet loss, and round trip time. So let me show you in the UI. So if I drill down to any particular interface which is configured for MediaNet traffic, I can see the traffic by jitter, packet loss, round trip time. If your network has multicast traffic can be monitored with the help of NetFlow Analyzer. So to show you one example of multicast traffic, so this is a traffic where multicast is enabled, and this will show me how much traffic is consumed by the multicast traffic in the network. So in this way, you can enable MediaNet and multicast traffic to view the traffic usage by each of them. So to summarize, we have seen traffic consumption by device, interface, application, QoS, and WLCs. To move to the next feature of NetFlow Analyzer, where you can detect attacks with the help of flow-based advanced security analytics module. So NetFlow Analyzer has ASAM, where you can identify junk or any malicious traffic which has occurred in your network with the help of an advanced mining algorithm. So NetFlow Analyzer has an algorithm with which it classifies traffic into four main problems. The problems are suspect flow, bad source and destination, DDoS attacks, and scan and probes. So let me take you to the ASM module of NetFlow Analyzer. So under attacks, we can see the four main problems which are listed here. If you drill down to any particular problem, you can know the time at which the problem has occurred and what was the main reason for this problem. So here you can see the source occupancy and the destination occupancy and the top offender IPs in the network, the target, the traffic source, and also the unique connections which has been made in the network. So with the help of unique connections, you can know which IPs are frequently accessing the network and you can block those IPs. Next is we will see how you can enhance your visibility with the help of some of the tips in the inventory page. One of the tip is when your interfaces are showing the name as if index 1 and 2, how you can view the name of those devices and interfaces. In that case, there are two options to provide a name to a particular interface. You can either fetch the name from the SNMP, which we have recently seen. You can also edit the interface name manually. So let me show you how you can edit the name manually. So suppose this is the if index where I want to provide my own name. So I go to the right corner settings and click on edit interface details. So here I have an option to provide my own name. And save the settings. So in this way, you can add the names to multiple interfaces. The next is the interface utilization is shown as 100%, how you can set the correct value. Usually utilization cannot be above 100%. So in that case, you need to check for the four possibilities. There could be a problem with incorrect link speed. So we'll see how you can solve the problem of incorrect link speed. So in the inventory, I can see one particular interface which doesn't have a proper utilization value. I can select this interface in the right corner settings. I have an option for set speed. So I can provide the proper speed for the interface and save the settings. Once this is done, you can see the real value of the utilization added to this particular interface. The next possibility could be there are multiple NetFlow commands which are added. So while configuring flows, you are providing multiple commands with the help of which the flows are counted twice or thrice. So in that case, the utilization will exceed the normal value and it will show you above 100%. The next could be the incorrect active timeout. So in incorrect active timeout, you need to check whether the active timeout is set to 60 seconds. So while configuring the flows, you need to check for the active timeout, which should be set to 60 seconds. The next possibility could be the tunneling traffic, where the tunneling traffic is accounted by the NetFlow Analyzer and the utilization exceeds 100%. So with the help of ESP and GRE filter option in NetFlow Analyzer, you can also remove the tunnel traffic. So these are four possibilities which you need to check when the utilization is above 100%. The next is some of your applications are listed as underscore apps and you need to provide a name to this particular application. There could be where you want to add your own business applications to see the traffic usage. In that case, you can map those underscore apps with the help of show port option. So let me show you in the UI. If I drill down to a particular interface, Under applications, I can see some of the applications are listed as underscore applications. So if I click on any particular show port, I can map this with the help of port and protocol and provide the application name. I can also provide the IP address, IP range, or the IP network for this particular application created. So in this way, you can map your own applications with the help of show port option. You also have an option for application mapping from the settings tab, where you can add your own application if you know the port and protocol along with the IP range. So here I can add my own application and provide the protocol and also the IP range for this particular application. So once I give the start IP and end IP and save the settings, the application will be automatically mapped, and once this is mapped, you can see the traffic usage for your mapped application. So these are the two ways where you can map your own applications. Next is there a way to categorize the traffic usage? So suppose in your network, you can see the traffic usage, but you want to view the combined traffic usage by a particular department or a branch or a subnet in your network or traffic used by a particular VLAN. There is an option called traffic grouping in NetFlow Analyzer. So with this grouping option, you can group multiple interfaces or IP address or an applications or DHCPs and create your own groups. So let me take you to the UI. So in the settings, you have an option called group settings. So in the group settings, you can create your own groups such as device group, interface group, IP group, application, and DHCP. Let me add one interface group. So I need to provide a group name, speed for this, and select the interfaces for which I want to create this interface group and save the settings. Once this is done, I need to navigate to the inventory, and under groups, I can see the added groups and see the combined traffic usage. So suppose this is one of the department in my network which is created by grouping the IPs. I can drill down and can see the complete traffic usage by the multiple IPs in my network. So in this way, you can create your own groups such as device groups, IP groups, interface groups, and application groups, and can view the combined traffic usage by each of these groups. So with the benefits of group is you can monitor the combined bandwidth usage to get a bit better picture of the traffic consumption. You can also use device grouping and to provide access to a particular operator and limit the access for the devices. And you can also get a better visibility to help you with troubleshooting. So let's see some of the scenarios where you can create multiple groups in the network. Suppose I want to check the traffic usage by the different branches. So I can use IP group to create different branches with the data center located at different locations. So I can create different branches in my network and can view the combined traffic usage by each of the branches. The next is how do I monitor traffic for a particular VLAN? To monitor traffic, you can also create an IP group and provide the IP address for the particular VLAN, or also you can create an interface group if you know the interfaces for that particular VLAN. The next is how do I manage the traffic from my US data center to India data center, which means that between two sites, how can I manage the traffic? In this case, you can create IP group between two sites. So let me show you in the UI how to create group. So in the group settings and under IP, when I add a new, I have an option called between sites. So once I provide the IP address for these two sites, I can prove the traffic utilized between these two sites. The next is, how do I view total traffic utilization by a particular van? So you can also create a group. With the help of interface group, you can add the van interfaces and can see the combined traffic usage by a particular van in your network. The next type of group, which can be created for your business critical applications, where you can map your business critical applications and then use application grouping to group them and can see the traffic consumption by business critical applications and non-critical applications in your network. So these were some of the options of grouping which will help you to gain better picture of traffic consumption in your network. The next topic is about the simplified and customizable inventory. So various customization options you have is you can custom filter or sort or customize the view of your bandwidth graphs. You have a quick search option for searching a particular IP when you have multiple devices in the network, or the edit configuration options at the right corner settings, which will help you to customize your interfaces and bandwidth graphs. So these are some of the custom options where you can filter the traffic by time. You can set the speed for a particular interface. You can configure NBAR and CBQS. You can add a new device group. You can set SNMP. You can also have an option to unmanage a particular device. You have an option to create policies. You can zoom to a particular graph or clear an alarm. So these are some of the options which you can apply to your particular device or an interface page. So let's move on to the next step, which is alerting. So you can get notified when there is a threshold violation in your network, or if a particular link is down, or you overutilized or underutilized. You can get notified via email, SMS, or SNMP trap, and you will know whether your link is down or overutilized. So you have an alert profile in NetFlow Analyzer where there are pre-configured alerts for link down and no flow, and with which you can create a threshold based alerts. You can provide the IP range, IP address, or an IP network. You can also define the threshold based on port and protocol range or particular application or the DHCP value. So let me take you to the UI to give you brief about alert profile. So once I go to the settings, there is an option for alert profile. So these are the alerts which are already added to my network. I can add a new alert and select the interfaces for which I want to generate this alert. If I have to give a particular threshold for IP address, port, DHCP, or an application, I can select that and click next. Here you need to define the threshold. Suppose the utilization exceeds 60% of my total traffic 5 times in 10 minutes, get me notified as an attention for the selected email address. You can also add multiple alerts. Suppose it exceeds 80%, set the alert as critical and alert me via email. So in this case, you can create multiple alerts and provide the alert name. So in this way, you can create multiple alerts in your network. So you can create alert for utilization, volume, speed, and also packets. The various severity level could be critical, trouble, and attention. Suppose we have seen one of the case where the link is overutilized and I want to know when the link is exceeding 60% of my traffic, total utilization. So in this case, you can create a threshold based alert for overutilized link. You need to provide the threshold values like I have given before, and you can set an alert for either email, SNM, and SMS notification. So in this way, you can get notified via email or an SMS whenever the threshold is violated. So in this way, you can generate multiple alerts for multiple interfaces or IP groups or any of the groups in the network and get notified. So here we come to the summary of today's session. So we have seen three most important steps which are needed for you to configure and get started with your bandwidth monitoring solution. The three steps were exporting flows, viewing the bandwidth and traffic graph, and also configuring alerts. There are more important steps such as generating reports and configuring the raw data settings and applying policies and troubleshooting, which we will cover in the next session. So NetFlow Analyzer also has recently added some of the features such as guest user privilege access to provide and limit the access to certain users. You also have an option for IP group bulk upload when you need to upload the IP group between two sites. NetFlow Analyzer also provides a detailed report for your AS view, and you can also create user or role-based dashboards in the dashboard section. So talking about the next, we have the next part of training, which is on August 17th, and the topics which we will cover will be alarms, the data storage settings, the reporting, capacity planning, and the usage billing options. So please don't forget to attend this session. If you need more help, you can log into our YouTube channel or you can send your queries to netanalyzer-support@manageengine.com. So let's move on to the Q&A session. So I'll hand over to Savanan.
Thank you, Piyushri. That was a wonderful demo, and thank you for the introduction. So, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Saravana Kumar, so handling NetFlow Analyzer for more than half a decade. So I'll be handling the questions and answers session today. So the first question, how to manage and unmanage the interfaces. So NetFlow Analyzer is an user-friendly product where you can use a single NetFlow Analyzer license, or you can toggle a single NetFlow Analyzer license for multiple interfaces. So as you are aware, NetFlow Analyzer licensing is based on per interface and not device. And there will be some times where you might have to use a single license for two interfaces at two different times. So in these cases, we have an efficient or user-friendly license management page where you can simply manage or unmanage the interfaces. So in this case, you can efficiently use the license that you get. And also, if there is any new interfaces that have been added, they will be listed on another new interfaces tab. The second question, is it possible to view traffic based on uses? So NetFlow Analyzer or NetFlow itself is a technology which gives us the IP-based information and not user-based information. Unlike syslogs, NetFlow Analyzer gives us only the IP-based information. You'll get informations like what are the source IP of the traffic, what are the destinations IP of the traffic, and what is a conversation. You will get all these information based on IPs and not users. So this answers the question that NetFlow Analyzer only gives you the IP-based information. The third question, why the interfaces are named as if index? How will I get the appropriate interface name? So as soon as you export the flows from the devices for the first time, we get the device information like the IP address of the device and the interfaces that you export the flow. So the device export or identifies the interfaces as the default name like if index 1 or if index 2 or something like that. So it will not get the information what you have configured. So to overcome this, you have two options. So the first one is you have to set SNMP. That is, you have to configure SNMP in the device and update the SNMP in NetFlow Analyzer, which will get you the informations like, which will give you the informations like the exact interface name and the interface speed and the device name as well. So this is a place where you set the SNMP. And if it is a single SNMP for all the devices that you have added or being monitored in NetFlow Analyzer, you can simply use this option checkbox, apply to all devices, which will apply the SNMP community string across all the devices that is added in or being monitored in the NetFlow Analyzer. And another way is you can simply edit the interface information. So say, for example, you navigate to the interface section, and then you click on the edit interface information, where you have the feasibility of editing the information name and editing the bandwidth capacity in and bandwidth capacity out, and also the sampling rate. Does NetFlow Analyzer discovers the device automatically? So that is our fourth question. So you cannot add a device in NetFlow Analyzer, unlike Op Manager, which is our another tool. You have to configure the devices to export the flows from the interfaces, which will be automatically identified by the NetFlow Analyzer or auto-detected by the NetFlow Analyzer, and will populate the data just like this, what you see here. So you cannot add a device in the NetFlow Analyzer. So you export the flow. If you do it correctly, the devices will be auto-detected, and the interfaces as well. The question number 5. Can I see the traffic based on geolocation? Absolutely. So it will not be enabled by default. So to view a geolocation information, all you have to do is you have to drag into the interface and get into the destination tab or the source tab and enable the geolocation. So which will give you information like which country is being contributing for the traffic, and who's the source and who's the destination of the traffic. You will get all these information if you just enable the geolocation tab. Question number 6. What will show in flow analysis standard graph, both in and out traffic or just in and out, in or out traffic? So the NetFlow Analyzer will show you both the in and out traffic. So what you see here under the traffic tab is the both in and out traffic through a particular interface or a device. And one interesting thing, what you see here is the data. What you see here is on a minute average. So say for example, if the time is 9:53, the data what you're seeing here would be for 9:52. So we are the best in the market, which shows you the live traffic using our NetFlow Analyzer. So that answers the question number 6. Question number 7. Is it necessary to use Network Configuration Manager to add devices in NetFlow Analyzer? Absolutely not. But if you do that, that is a best practice what we suggest our customers. So they are happy with the best practice, but what we have suggested them. All you have to do is you have to add the device in Network Configuration Module, or aka called as NCM or Config Management in our tool. You just add the device with its IP and the protocol that it supports, like SSH or Telnet, and you can just simply execute a configlet, which will in turn execute the commands in the NetFlow in your devices. So the device will instantly start exporting the flows to our NetFlow Analyzer server. So where you can sit and relax, so that you don't have to log into the device, do any configuration changes. We have almost the configurations for all the vendors of the devices, for which you can use the same for exporting the flows. Question number 8. Why do I see incorrect speed or 100% utilization for the IP group that it is created? So say for example, you create an IP group under NetFlow and a group section. So here that could be because of incorrect speed that you have mentioned. So here you have the feasibility of mentioning that what could be the IP group speed. So this has to be entered precisely in order to view the correct traffic information, or else the data what you see would be most probably incorrect. So I hope everyone enjoyed the demo and the Q&A. I hope most of your questions must have been answered. And for the rest of the questions which has not been attended, we'll drop you an email. We have your email address, so we'll get in touch with you personally, and we'll answer your questions or address your questions. And just to let you know a point, that on 7th of August, that is Tuesday, we have our next session on NetFlow Analyzer, where Pishri will be hosting it on the troubleshootings and other stuff on NetFlow Analyzer. Please don't forget to attend the session to have an in-depth information and knowledge about the NetFlow Analyzer module. So until we meet next time, thank you.